Good morning, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Listen up. If I seem a little bit off today, it is because I am. Yesterday was Jared's birthday, and we all had a little bit too much beer. But that is not going to stop us from making at least a little bit of forward progress on the Type R. So check this out. Rear axles came in. These are the axle shafts. They're both the identical lengths. That is the Insane Shafts one that I had to send in. A place called Dutchman Motorsports, I believe it's called, is pretty quick with the turnaround on these guys. And honestly, pricing wise, it's not all that bad for custom axles. Let's go ahead and get a quick mock-up on one shaft, just a light assembly, and make sure we got the length perfect on the rears. I'm confident we did. And if these are good, we already know the driveline good. We have one CV axle that is good, and the other one is getting made right now. And after that, we will be done with all the drivetrain stuff. So the tripod goes on that side, star on this side. Extremely displeased right now and frustrated with myself, but it was such a simple but stupid mistake. I remember when we first got the axles in, I was super excited because I took the entire axle, and just to make sure the splines are the same, I went like this. Cool, splines are the same. What I failed to assess is actually putting it through the hub and realizing the stub on the joint is quite a bit too short. If it was a ½ inch longer, we would be good. We can still get a nut on that, but to me, threading it on like 5 turns, that ain't very safe. That ain't very legit. So what I'm hoping I can do is just grab this joint right here off of the CRV axle, use the CRV hub, still use our new shafts, of course, and not have to get anything remade. As you can see, the splines are the same. Length is about a ½ inch too short, and things are not looking all that promising. But let's pop it apart and see what we could do. We have the CRV rear axle completely torn apart, and it's not even coming close to being the same style. So I think the next best option is gonna be to try to find a different hub that will allow the CV to protrude just a little bit more. All right, so I think our best option is gonna be to have this milled down about 10, maybe 11 millimeters is what we need. I did go through an auto parts store and pick up a bunch of random parts. So this here is an 06 CRV hub, and that's how it should look. But of course, this hub will not fit the bearing carrier. Completely different style, as you can see. So let's pop into a machine shop. Hopefully they can turn this guy down. I found a place here locally that can do it. They said it'd be about a week out, but we are worried. We're worried that if we turn this down or pull that down 10 millimeter, there's not gonna be enough meat left for this thing to be strong and withstand the power that we're shooting for. So here's another option I'm gonna try real quick. I went ahead and picked up a bearing. So this is a hub in the bearing for an 06 Honda CRV, and it looks like the outside diameter of this bearing might go into this race or hub, I guess you'd call it. I'm gonna go ahead, press this bearing out, see if this guy will press right in. And if it does, which it looks like it's going to, that will probably be a better option than turning that down. Well, the option I was just discussing with putting the 06 bearing inside this is not gonna work. So the OD of the bearing is 2.874, and the ID of this guy is 2.678. So it's close. We could get it bored out, but I think the option of just getting this milled in is going to be the best option. Sucks we gotta wait. It is what it is. It's a custom build, so there's a lot of variables and hiccups that we're going to encounter along the way. This hopefully is going to be the last of the issues. Next important task of the day is the transmission. Let me show you what's up. Spins, and then she'll randomly lock up, which I knew that when I bought it. I really just needed a trans for mock-up, but if it's not too destroyed internally, we could probably get it fixed. So let's go ahead and pop this guy open and see if it's an easy fix or if it's just easier to buy a new trans. From what I understand, you can pretty much take any like Honda K-Series gear set and put it in this case. I could be wrong on that, but it sounds like you could even make this thing a 6-speed, fairly simply if I wanted to, which is pretty insane. I'm not too good with transmissions, so I'm gonna take my time on this. I've only pulled apart a couple in my life, But I know all these detent things have to come off. The selector has to come out. Speed sensor, I'm sure, has to come off. And then the cases will unbolt. After the cap and spring comes off, there's this little ball that comes out as well. I think to get the selector out, we got to pull this Allen, is what I'm assuming. Ooh. 10 seconds in, I already see carnage. Very nice. I think that cap has got to come off, I'm assuming. So under the cap, there's this little circlip, which holds that bearing to this case. So we're gonna go ahead and pull out all of the case bolts. And then in order to separate the cases, we're gonna have to spread that circlip apart. Y'all ready for the carnage? I have a feeling. Not even that bad. You got a broken gear maybe, and that's about it. Not bad. So we have, ow, the gear right here is destroyed, and of course the adjacent gear on the other shaft is also destroyed. Let's fully tear this thing down, get the shafts out, get them pressed apart, and see about replacing these gears that are destroyed. So everything else inside the trans seems to be okay. Just those two gears are shot. Everything else looks fine. Should be an easy fix. All right, let's go ahead and disassemble the first shaft. So we only have to pull off, well, like 2 gears before the destroyed gear comes off. I think is that 3rd gear? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know transmissions all that well. I am gonna be very careful though and place everything in a strategic line of how it comes off so we know how it goes back together. First little nut is off, or bolt is off. That was a reverse thread. Pull that guy off. Now the bearing's gotta be pressed off. And then I think as soon as the bearing comes off, these 2 gears hopefully should slide off quite easy. Looks a little sketchy, but let's see what happens. We're making progress. Wouldn't recommend this at all. So right now I'm pressing off the top 2 gears and the bearing all at once. As you can see, I have these plates underneath that 2nd gear. Actually, it looks like the bearing should come off now. Okay. Next 2 gears are off. Is this one loose? Nope. Now we have to find a creative way to get this gear off. I think the easiest way is just gonna be this. Press the entire shaft out. Now that gear's loose. Easy enough. Ta-da, she's hammed. All right, next up. Hopefully no need for all the sketchy shit on this one. There's the 2 gears that we need. This boy and this boy. Wow.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
You partying or what?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're 5 deep in a Kia Soul on the way to Seattle, so.
What?
I don't know how much fucking partying we can have right now.
Jesus, what are you doing in Seattle?
Shelby's bachelor party.
Ah.
Why? What do you need?
Some gears.
Yeah, I know I have a 3rd gear set.
When are you gonna be back?
Sunday night.
Oh, easy enough.
Yeah. So
Well,
just bring that whole fucking thing by so we can figure out what ratio it is and everything.
the whole thing, I already pressed it apart.
Well, fucking at least bring me 3rd gear. What's it need? Just 3rd gear?
Yes,
It didn't hurt anything else.
it's titties otherwise. I mean, a little dirty,
Are you
but
sure?
100%.
All right. All right.
All right. So while we're waiting on some gears, what we can do is unrattle can the trans. As you can see, this is some Walmart paint, it looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and pull out all the bearings. They should be cleaned out anyway. Get all this metal out of here, bust out the sandblaster, get all this paint stripped off, and then I'll show you guys what we're gonna do to make them look mint and brand new again. So this works better if you have a smaller torch, but this big one will work as well. How we're gonna get this bearing out is heat up the case, and then I'll flip it over and drop the case, and it should pop out. I'm gonna try to get all this oil out of here, so let's do a vigorous cleaning with some degreaser. Also got to get all that metal out of here from the shattered gears. This stuff is so disgusting in the bell housing, so I got this little tub of gasoline, and it's much cheaper and cuts through the grease way better than degreaser actually does. So here's a quick look of it before the sandblaster and before the new coating. Pretty disgusting. And a lot of this does just flake right off, so it should be pretty easy to blast. And here she is, fresh out the blaster. The second trans case is all cleaned up. The first one has already been in the oven. The second one is gonna go in. This is just a little pre-bake cycle to burn off any oils so the new coating can stick. All right, we have the cases all cleaned up. They're out of the oven and cooled back down. They are ready for the Cerakote. This is H151 satin aluminum color. You guys probably remember this color from a couple years back, or maybe a year ago. This is the main product we restored that blue Evo 8 with. Trans case, T case, all the good stuff was the satin aluminum. Now this is a two-part, so we have this, and then we have the part B catalyst. This here is the Cerakote gun that we're gonna be using. Gonna be mixing it in this glass jar. And there are 3 different catalyst ratios that you can do. For a lower gloss, we're gonna go 24:1 standard, 18:1 higher gloss, 12:1. I'm just gonna keep it at standard, 18 parts of this to 1 part of this. And everything will be weighed out here on our nice crusty scale. I'm just gonna start off with doubling up, so 34 grams of that to 2 grams of the catalyst. I don't think that's gonna be enough, but we can always mix it more if we need. Okay, there's that. Now the super cool thing about Cerakote is it's such a thin film that goes on that you don't have to worry about masking any threads off, any gasket surfaces off. It's fine. You ain't gotta worry about it. Ooh, this is gonna look nice. We got her fully coated, looking very nice. Now she's gonna go in the oven for 2 hours at 250 degrees. All right, have fun in there. The transmission casing is all finished up. I could have done a little bit better of a job applying the Cerakote. Some of the areas do have a little bit of dry spray, but as a whole, she does look very, very nice, especially compared to before. As soon as we got a new third gear in, we can go ahead and reassemble this transmission, which I'm very excited for. If you want to pick up some Cerakote, I'll link it down in the description box below. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Peace out, my friends, and I'll see you boys in the next episode.